Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we are taking on perhaps an overly ambitious project. We are going to rank every fire damage dealing spell in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Every
Are
single
you
one of them.
are you ready for this?
I'm super ready. I've already done it, in fact. I
All
think I
right.
probably missed like a handful of weird summon style effects where like one of the damage types offered is fire, but the list should otherwise be mostly encompassing of anything that can deal fire damage
We
in
did
this
include quite a
scheme.
few though, so
I checked as many as I could
yeah.
think of, so
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get to the list. All right, here we are. I'm trying out some new tech, so bear with me. Sam,
but
you actually did the ranking. There's a whole written article that will be linked in the description of this video. What were your criteria for ranking these? Are you going by like I mean they have fire as part of them and they're good spells and you're ranking them that way, or are you ranking them with regard to like how good, like if you want fire effects, how good they are for specifically fire
so I
stuff?
when I did the rankings, I ranked them just in the vacuum of, is this a spell that I want on my character sheet? Like, how often do I want it on my character sheet? So, like, S's are every single character will want this on their character sheet, and the game is different for it. A's are just always excellent on everyone. B's were pretty good, and you would be fine with taking them. C's were like, some characters can make them work. D is most characters can't make it work. And F's are, they don't work on any character. Was the general outline I did. Now, might be slightly different. We're going to see how I'm feeling on the day. I'm personally really excited to just check my list to see what is different. But like some of these spells are going to be like powerful, but not powerful at dealing fire damage, but they just incidentally also deal fire damage. So there's going to be a
Right.
little bit of weirdness, but it'll be fine.
All right. Kicking things off, I think this one's an excellent one. We're doing these alphabetically, by the way, but first up is absorb elements.
That's got to be an S tier, right?
I would
Powerful
think so. I mean,
reaction.
yeah,
Maybe it's an A tier because there's like so many good powerful reactions between like silver barbs and shield and stuff. This isn't the first one you take, but this is still like a really excellent spell that just, oh, if you take fire damage, it deals fire damage.
yeah.
It kind
Of
of feels,
course, if you're taking fire damage and spitting fire damage out at the creature that did that, then yeah, it might not be as effective.
yeah, it's not again, this is like, we're starting off with a weird one. This isn't good at dealing fire damage, but it's good at not taking damage, and that makes it an
Right.
excellent spell, you know? Make the call. Where do you want it?
Um, yeah, I guess A tier is good.
All right, A tier sounds good to me.
We'll save the S tier for really the really good stuff.
I mean, it is really good stuff. It's just not
It
really
is.
good at dealing fire damage.
Yeah. That's
Tough question.
all right.
I
Well,
know. Tough question.
we can't um shit. All right, next.
Got it.
Agonizer's Scorcher.
An iconic line spell. I love line spells. It is just Burning Hands in a line. So, like, it can't ever be that good, and it's a second level spell. This to me, like, rings solid C tier. You know, most people don't need it. It'll be fine most of the time. It's like a whatever short. Big line of fire. You're never going to be upset casting it most of the time. It's just like you could upcast Burning Hands for almost an identical effect.
Yeah. You said it's a second level spell.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got my dual monitors, and it's also, viewers at home, you might notice my eyes are jumping all over the place because I've got like Bob's over here, cameras up here, monitor over here. It's gonna be a great time for watching me just sporadically dart around different places.
all right, C tier it is.
I mean, it's 3d fire damage in a line. Eh?
Yeah, but I mean, if you've already got burning hands, then I don't really see the need.
Yeah, I'm entirely in agreement.
You got other second level options that you want.
I
All
think
right.
so. It's still like it's novel in that like it's one of the few actual new damaging spells at second level, which is weird. There just aren't many that you consider. There's like Clouded Daggers, but then there's also like Nazareth Scorcher if you want instantaneous.
But is burning hands upscalable?
Sure is. That's why it's like, yeah, does this need to exist? Probably not.
All right then. Next up is Ashardalan Stride.
This feels like a really comfy D tier to me.
D, really?
I think this spell's hot trash.
I think it's fun though, but no, I guess that's not. That's not
It's a
a
third
ranking
level
criteria.
spell, Mom.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you get like Long Strider plus a D6 fire damage. I don't put Long Strider on character sheets. It's not uncastable, but it sure ain't good.
All right, I'm not going to argue that. This is Asher Dallas Stride is not the hill I'm going to die on.
But again, like, some characters can make it work. It isn't unusable. D tier doesn't mean you should never put it on a character sheet. It just means no, it's not going to be that powerful if you do put it probably on a character sheet, you know?
Yeah, all right. And next is Burning Hands, which we've already mentioned.
Yeah, where do you think this goes?
Probably B. I'm thinking it's not amazing, but it's a solid beginner spell.
I kind
Fire
of want to
damage.
like, part of my brain wants to put this in S tier just to be like, oh, this defines the early tier. And then part of my brain's like, but it's just 3d6 damage in a cone.
Yeah.
I think
And
A is
how
more
big is the
suitable.
cone?
15 foot. It normally hits
Yeah.
like 2-3 things. Hitting 2-3 things for a first level spell is like skipping the fighter's turn 3 times, right? Like it's 3 attack-ish rolls. And that is really efficient at level 1 and 2.
So what are we saying? A or B? Or yeah, whatever.
It's somewhere around A, B tier. I think A is probably fair for this. I think most characters can put it on their sheet and just be like, yeah, this will be good, especially levels 1 and 2.
All right.
Past that, you probably don't need that much, but you know, for the early tier, it does the job just fine.
Past that, it's a worthy, competitor to
Scorcher.
Agonizer Scorcher, yes.
Yeah.
All right. What's up next? Chaos Bolt. Not full fire, but it's got fire options.
How long do we need to talk about this before we put it in F tier?
Did you say S or F?
F. This is possibly the worst damaging spell in the game. It is truly, truly awful. It does 2d8 plus a d6 on hit, and then I guess F does seem a little harsh. I just hate that it doesn't satisfy the condition of like bouncing well. This probably gets a D, right?
Yeah, it does something.
It's like Chromatic Orb, but worse. And I'm not a high on Chromatic Orb. Right? Like, if you miss with this, you're like, well, there goes my entire spell. And then if you hit with it, you go, okay, I did less damage and at random version of Chromatic Orb. And then 1/8 of the time it jumps once, and you're like, oh, I did something neat. That just doesn't seem like it's likely going to happen to me. That's all.
Well, guess what's next?
Chromatic Orb.
Chromatic Orb.
Oh, yeah, moving. This is like, I like this spell as if I'm doing an elementalist thing and I want to lock in a single damage type, this is kind of like a freebie. This is like I don't even have to ask my DM to change the damage type. I can just pick it with Chromatic Orb. It's still all or nothing 3d8 damage attack. It's gonna be like, you compare it to a great sword. I'm not that excited, so it's probably a middle of the road C. Like, it will chunk somebody from across the map. The damage type rarely matters, but like, yeah, at first level, why not? Past that, no thanks.
All right. See, it is. Next up is Conjure Elemental.
What do you think? You get a fire elemental. How good is a fire elemental?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're doing this for fire damage, it would have to be a fire elemental.
Like, even if you put it in context, if you take any of the elementals. Remember, there's the fun opportunity if you break concentration to beats your ass.
That's a bonus for you. You like that.
It's an extra little magical quirk. I like that a lot.
What level is this one? I don't have all these pulled up right now.
This is a 4th level or 4th or 5th level spell. Let me double check. It's expensive. It's a 5th level spell. 5th is kind of a lot.
Level.
The elementals do hit like a boss though, and they are big. Like, they all come with over 100-ish hit points. The elemental is under, but everything else is over.
Yeah, that's great. Unless you lose control.
Yeah. I think this probably is a C.
C?
Maybe I think B is probably more fair. I think most of the time you're going to cast this and be really happy with it, but it's not going to do any of the fact that you can lose control of it, I think makes it quite a bit worse than the summon stuff. But it's still like you get a buddy into the world that's going to beat some people to death. So that's probably B territory, right?
B sounds good, especially with what we've got coming up next. Conjure Minor Elementals.
This is one of the first ones we did, right? It was one of the first videos we talked about.
Like on this channel?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was a while ago.
The first one was like Harm, and I don't remember the order after that.
Yeah, this is a nut spell. This spell's utterly busted.
Should I go ahead and put it at S tier now?
Yeah. Yeah. You get like
All
12
right.
little methods at your disposal, and there's a bunch of different awesome modes. And like steam methods are the ones that give you the fire damage, but then you still have like a bunch of other awesome method options. Like you can get mud methods that can like do espionage stuff. You've got all kinds of opportunities to do super, super broken things with this spell. Just having a bunch of minions at your disposal
Yes, having
is nuts.
that many minions attacking something is powerful, and they deal damage when they die and explode.
They
And
do
that's
so
fun.
many things. They've got
Yes.
fly speeds, they can disguise, they can do so many things. Methods are really good busted. And you're not always gonna get methods, there is that caveat, but like even magmen are fine. And there's even more fire damage, you know? So if we're doing fire specifically. There we go.
All right, next we've got one that you like more than I do. Create bonfire.
I think I like this spell more than like the planet. I feel like I'm like no one rates this as highly as I do. I'm not saying like it's an S tier changes the game, but I do think for low tier characters, having a persistent damage effect that gives you a concentration option that is your cantrip, I think is valuable. This is the kind of thing you just set it down, you get the damage out of it as like a cast. Like it is a dice size under a firebolt, and that's just fine. It's a 60-foot range, which is fine. And if you're not concentrating on anything on level 1, 2, which is when you're casting your cantrip most often, that seems really solid to me. I think this is a great little B of a spell.
Yeah, that's. I probably should rank it higher, but I don't know. I can't get it out of my head actually creating a bonfire and sitting around it and roasting marshmallows. I don't think of it as a damaging spell when I know in my head that it is.
If it were like Smoldering Crater, you'd be more into it.
Maybe. All right. Now, next up is Delayed Blast Fireball.
That's a weird one. I like it a lot. It's just Fireball, but you can charge it up, and that's kind of sweet. 7th level is a lot for just damage, but it is a lot of damage for a 7th level spell. It's pretty cool.
Well,
I don't know if it's like S tier
the
cool.
point of this is like the delayed blast, not necessarily the fireball. So that's the flavor. That's the thing that sets it apart, rather.
Yeah. So like you're getting. I'm gonna move this tab up here so it looks like I'm looking up here more often, and that's kind of like I'm looking at my camera. This is like. So it's 12d6 for a 7th level spell at base rate, which is just upcast fireball, right? I think it's 1 damage over upcast fireball because it would be 8d6. So a 7th level will be 5 extra. So it's 1 under. But every round you charge it, it gets like even better to the point where it does like an extra 10d6 damage or something obnoxious. I have a hard time putting this somewhere because it's still a 7th level spell for just fireball, but like it is kind of cool and there's a lot of mess around with it. It's probably a B to me. I don't know if this is like every player always will want this.
Yeah, I mean to rank this higher than regular old fireball, you're gonna have to really, really value the timed thing.
Yeah,
and
not value the level, right? And say I don't mind using my 7th level spell every single time on fireball, even if it's delayed blast.
Yeah. Still, there's fun to be had with that, and probably some useful things to do, like set it down and run away and hope people chase you.
Yeah, and then that's like the cool part of it, right? That's the element of the spell that I like the most, and I think a lot of people like for it as well, right? Is you get this cool little trap. Like it really does feel like you have a build your own trap kind of just at your disposal all the time, and that's kind of spicy.
Yeah, you could put it at the bottom of a spiked pit trap.
Yeah.
Kick them while they're down.
Yeah, I love the idea of these powerful wizards that are teleporting between the worlds to be like, all right, guys, I covered the pit trap. I'm going to put a little bead down there too, though. So we'll get the 2d6 damage from hitting the spikes, and then they'll be incinerated. It'll be great.
All right. Dragon's Breath.
I am convinced this spell is just it's just solid. It took the investiture kind of idea, right, where you have like a spell that gives you an encounter's worth of an ability, and it made it good by just being repeated burning hands, right? This is just like a multi-attack for a 3rd level wizard is kind of what it feels like to me.
Yeah, but I don't recall what level is this and what kind of damage does it do?
It's a 2nd level spell, and you pick acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, and you do 15-foot cones of that as an action for the whole time. So you bonus action to set it up, and then you can action immediately to just like breath weapon, basically.
And that sounds. What are we comparing this to? Agonizer Scorcher?
Burning Hands is the actual one, right? Like, this is just
Yeah.
a bonus action for 10 uses of Burning Hands if you were to want it. I think this is probably a solid A. I really think that there will be a non-zero amount of maybe it's a B. I think there are a good amount of characters, especially in lower power tables, where they'll just like cast this and be like, oh, this entire encounter, I'm just roasting these goblins just over and over and over again. There's nothing they can do about it. And that seems like a really good time for the right tables. And even outside of that, you'll want to, like, if your resources are tight, this is a super efficient thing to have.
All right, what if I framed it this way? Burning Hands, level 1. 10 Burning Hands for level 2.
So but like, it's not 10 Burning Hands. It's the
Yeah.
ability to use Burning Hands for a minute.
Right.
And like, the difference between a first and second level spell is very large. So like, I don't mind in like some encounters, I will only need one use of a Burning Hands. Even if I cast Dragon, if I only need one use of the Burning Hands. If I'm only fighting, like, if I'm only able to get 2 things in the range of it, one Burning Hands is going to be as effective as multiples. So I don't know if I necessarily rate that as equivalent, right?
Oh no, yeah, I knew when I said it. It wasn't a black and white comparison there.
Do you want to go
All
A or
right.
do you want to go B?
B is fine.
B is fine? All right. Solid stuff. Oh, finally. Finally, we get to put something in F tier.
Elemental Bane.
Yes.
I don't even. What does that do?
It's the one where you pick a damage resistance, a damage type. The thing gets a save. If it fails the save, it takes a bonus 2d6 damage of the type 1 for the failed save.
I remember now. Yes.
This thing's trash.
Yeah. All right, because I think we did a video on this, and I went into it with kind of high spirits, and then you sucked that out of me. What's the big problem with it?
Okay, it's a 4th level spell. When you cast it, you spend your action to do absolutely nothing. You say, you're going to probably take elemental damage in the near future. And then if they do, it's only 2d6 bonus once per turn. So you need like 10 people to hit them before it is actually going to pay for the slot, right? You're going to need like 10d6 damage out of this thing, 12d6 damage out of this thing for me to go, that was worth a 4th level spell slot. And you're never going to get that. It will literally never happen. You will not get 10 instances of fire damage, or 5 instances of fire damage even, over the course of that minute. No party is that synergistic. It is truly, truly uncastable. Most of the time you'll cast this, they'll go, oh, thank God, you'll get 46 bonus damage out of it, tops, and that'll be the end of the encounter. And you'll spend a 4th level spell slot on 46 damage. You could have just cast Desert Scorcher at that point.
All right, our first F tier. Hooray.
So bad. It's so bad.
Next, we have Elemental Weapon.
This was also not great. So what this guy does is, well, if I can enter the type line correctly, this is a little enchantment thing that is like Magic Weapon, but gives you a D4 damage instead of +1 damage, and the type is Elemental, right? So it gets +1 bonus to hit, and then a D4 of the chosen damage on hit. It lasts an hour, so it does kind of last a while. And if you're like a druid, you could just set this up on your fighter, and then they kind of hit slightly harder. I think it's still quite bad. I don't rate concentration 3rd level spell for a D4 on hit that highly.
This is concentration.
Yeah.
Yeah. D sounds right. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you want to fight it higher?
I don't know. I'm thinking D4 damage, like, of a type over an hour. If you can, I mean, the thing is, do you want to eat up your concentration for an hour for this?
The other options I get are like Paladin, Ranger, and I rate this maybe a little bit higher on Paladin, or on Ranger, I mean, because you get like, it's kind of like a magic weapon that you have the full duration of, and it's kind of like close to a Hunter's Mark, and Hunter's Mark's a D6 damage on hit for a 1st level spell for an hour, so that seems better to me. So I'm like, if you need them overcoming weapon resistances, I think the narrowness puts it in D tier. I don't think most characters are going to want this on their sheet.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have anything else to do with your concentration, it's probably okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I think druids definitely have other things to do with their concentration. They can like summon minor elementals. That seems way better than this.
All right. Next up is Firebolt.
I really want to put this in C tier. I really don't think it's that good. Where do you think this belongs?
I mean, at least B. This is like the quintessential damage cantrip if you don't have magic no, this is it, right? If you don't have Eldritch Blast, I mean.
Yeah, this is a D10 damage at 120 foot range. And like,
yeah, I mean, that's, if you've got nothing else, it's nice to have the option.
I literally will take any like 60-foot damage ranged option that's a D8 or D6 with some added effect over this. I just think the damage difference is so minute that I just don't I would rather have it have the ability to do something else. If things like Frostbite and Mind Sliver didn't exist, I might be a little bit higher on this, but there are fine damaging cantrips that will do damage and give you something else, and you usually care about something else more than the damage, because the damage on this cantrip is still bad. Like a D10 raw is hitting between, 3-4 damage a lot of the time. Sometimes you'll roll a 1 and feel like you skipped your turn. Like the deal with hitting with weapons is at least you add a modifier, so your floor is pretty high. The floor on this thing is awful. I don't like it.
10.
It's still like
All right.
it's still like, at level 1, sure, you'll do 8 or 9 damage every once in a while and feel like a god. So maybe that keeps it in C tier, but are you cast this past 3rd level? I don't think so.
No, but it's not. I mean, it's a cantrip. It's this is your damaging cantrip. You're using it at low levels.
Where do you want to put this?
I'm looking at
If
it.
I weren't here to persuade you, where would you put it?
I'd probably put it at a B, but that might be irresponsible.
I think B is fair. I think we can put it at B. I think a lot of people will take it and it will be fine on a lot of those character sheets.
I thought you were struggling to put it at C.
I am struggling to put it at C. I think C is where it probably belongs.
Well, that's fine. I'll meet you halfway. If you were tempted to put it at D, we can put it at C.
All right. Oh, and for viewers at home, there's no world that we're ordering within the tiers. These tiers are just like, yeah, they're loosely in this bucket. I don't think we're gonna figure out if Firebolt is better than Agnaster Scorcher in a vacuum.
No. All right. Next up, Fire Shield.
I like this spell. I like this spell a lot. So it's non-concentration, 4th level spell for last 10 minutes, and it reflects 2d6 fire damage, or 2d8 fire damage or cold damage on hit, depending on whichever you pick. This is a really cute little effect that, like, doesn't have the big problem that all the concentration defensive spells do, where it's like, oh, if I get hit, it falls off. No, you get hit, they take damage. You get hit again, they take damage again, and that sticks around for the full 10 minutes. It's
What
neat.
level is this?
4th level. It is kind of expensive.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but it's something fun to do. Can have it up while you got your other concentration stuff going. That's always a bonus.
Yeah. I think adding this to the Druid and Sorcerer list definitely made it a lot better. I love this on Druids, like Moon Druids needed a reason to want to get hit, and now you can just be a bear, or you catch yourself on fire, turn into a bear, and then maul people. They're just like a flaming bear running at things down. That's kind of awesome, right?
Yes, it is.
I think there's enough characters that this is actively good on that I think it deserves a B.
B sounds right. How about Firestorm?
That's like a light domain exclusive, basically.
I don't remember what Firestorm
is. It's a 7th level, 70-10 fire spell. It does
what level?
7th level, and it does 70-10
Oh.
fire damage, which is not great damage, but you kind of like get to pick and sculpt these 10-foot cube areas, so they like interconnect amongst each other, so you Tetris it in a way.
Yeah, that's how valuable is that though?
Yeah, if you're a cleric druid, it is kind of one of the best big area effect damage spells you get, and I think that's the reason why I rate it a little bit higher. I don't want this on Sorcerer almost ever, I don't think, but like on cleric druid, yeah, sure, it's fine. I think a C is it's enough damage. It is a good area. You'll have some cute sculpting moments with it. I just like an average character is not going to miss this if it's not on their sheet, I don't think, especially for its cost. So I think C seems reasonable to me.
It sounds good.
Now this one.
All right. Now the quintessential fire damage spell. We have Fireball.
Yeah, right to S tier. Right to S tier. I'll be hearing nothing but S tier for Fireball. It defines the game. Like you hit 5th level and your DM goes, okay, Fireball exists. And that every counter you make for the rest of your life has to be sculpted by that. It is so big. It does so much damage for its tier. You're jumping from 3d8 damage with Agnaster Scorcher to 8d6 damage in a better area over a larger range. Like this thing's obnoxious to deal with.
Yep, it's the big one for a reason. It's Fireball.
I genuinely characters that can put that on their sheet probably will majorly benefit from doing so. And again, your DM has to reconsider how they can run encounters if you have a Fireball on your character sheet at 5th level. And once you get to 9th, 10th, 11th level, it's a lot less oppressive, but it is still a big part of a lot of games. So yeah, I think it deserves this a lot, even if other people might disagree. Commoners, let us know down below. The moment you saw me rank a spell and you're like, that's stupid, Firebolt is S tier easy, tell me about that. Call me funny to my face. Say Sam, your hair looks bad and you're stupid. Or just be like, I don't agree with you. That also is fine too.
No, be mean. Start fights. No, don't do that. All right. Next we have Flame Arrows.
This is a little 3rd level spell that lights a quiver on fire, and then up to 12 pieces of ammunition do a bonus d6 damage out of that quiver. Concentration for an hour. It's a druid, ranger, sorcerer, wizard, artificer thing. I really think this is worse than magic weapon, because magic weapon gives you a plus to hit as well.
This
Oh,
is
sorry, elemental weapon. My bad.
yeah. Now you said it lasts up to an hour, but it has a
Sure.
maximum of 12 arrows that
Sure
it
does.
affects. That's I don't think I
Awful.
need an hour to shoot 12 arrows.
Yeah, you need 6 rounds to shoot 12 arrows.
Yeah.
This seems like a comfortable D tier.
This-
Maybe
yeah.
it's F. Maybe this is that bad.
Oh,
What do you think?
no, we don't have enough Fs. This we'll put it in F for now. If F gets too crowded, I might bump this one back up.
Like, what's the use case for this? If you're a druid and you have nothing better to concentrate on for your 3rd level spell, so you give your ranger plus a d6 for 12 of their shots. Like, I genuinely think Hunter's Mark is better than this, right?
Hmm.
And Hunter's Mark's a 1st
Well-
level spell that does more things.
All right. Well, you can cast this on somebody else's weapons.
Yeah, that's the use
All
case
right.
you're supposed to have, right? Is like you're the
All right,
wizard,
so
and you
what
go, Ranger,
If
throw you a bone.
the ranger is using Hunter's Mark by himself, and then you make his arrows flamey,
Yeah, they double up.
stack. Yeah, well, that's something.
Do you do this or do you elemental weapon?
I don't know.
Elemental weapon, I think.
yeah.
Let's put it in D. I don't think this deserves the F.
All right.
It does something, right? I tried. We do have
Yeah.
our floor for Fs being they don't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't look right next to Elemental Bane.
Yeah, it sure doesn't.
All right. Similarly, we've lit our arrows on fire. Now we're gonna light our sword on fire. We have Flame Blade.
This is a little bonus action 2nd level thing. Use your action to make a melee spell attack with it. It does 3d6 fire damage on hit. So we're like, this is the.
Oh wait, so that doesn't light your blade on fire. This is just
It
like a
makes a fiery
lightsaber.
blade. Yeah,
Okay,
you
yeah.
get a fire sword.
Yeah.
I don't think any character ever should want to cast this. But like it's kind of like getting a great sword that you're only attacking with once a round. That seems bad. So like it's weird because the Dragon's Breath does this effect, but it lets you hit cones over and over again, where this lets you make one attack with it at 30 for 3d6 damage. So like you're getting 3d6 in a cone or 3d6 against one target. And this really becomes like overtly quite bad whenever you're only ever hitting one thing with it round, right?
Yeah.
I really think this should be. Does it do something? Or is a weapon attack better than it? 3d6 is like, again, that's really close to a great sword hit. But like, it's sorcerer druid, neither ever want to cast it. What do you think?
No, I mean, even if like you have weapons and you have damaging cantrips, I don't see a use for it.
Right into F tier then?
Yeah, I guess so. That's
I mean, like, it's concentration too. So you light up your sword, you spend a bonus action doing that, you attack with it. Okay, great. You did one attack roll with a spell attack roll for 3d6 fire damage at best. And then you get hit once or twice, you drop it, and you're like, I've lost my greatsword. And you go, that's fine, because my cantrips are about as good as this?
yeah.
Yeah, that
Also,
seems like F.
you get the promise of a lightsaber and then it sucks.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
All right, what about Flaming Sphere?
This seems like a comfy little C to me.
The store brand fireball, Flaming Sphere.
More like the store brand magic weapon.
Oh, I know, but that's what the name reminds me of.
Yeah, it really does. It's like Frosted Flakes, frosted oat product. Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay. Yeah, 5-foot diameter sphere is kind of small. 2d6 fire damage isn't great. You have to ram it into things, but it's like clunky to do that.
Yeah.
It's still fine. But I really wish you could glide with it whenever you cast it, and that really does bring it down quite a bit to me.
This feels like C to me.
Yeah, I think that seems fair. I like C tier here.
No. All right.
Where do we put this, Bob? What do you do with Glyph of Warding?
Glyph of Warding. We've talked about this a few times. And people have come to its defense in the comments and said how they've used it, but it's the same old problem. How often are you playing a defensive game?
Well, I think used fairly, that is the point to it, right? Is like, this is really hard to use the way it was sort of designed as a trap outside of DM hands. At the same time, this does give you like the spell glyph to kind of double up on some effects. So you could like prep a spell in it, get the effect whenever you finish a long rest by activating the spell glyph and then move on. Is that good enough to justify it above like D? I don't know. It can only target a single creature or an area. It does double your concentration, kind of, because it lasts until the end of its full duration. So, like, this is a way to get a second concentration effect if you can spend the prep time on it. It's an hour cast time. Let's put it in C and call it nebulous. Maybe we should have a tier of, like, this doesn't deserve a ranking because it's weird. Because there's, like, so many different use cases, right?
All right, next up is Green Flame Blade.
Green Flame Blade is like the most mid spell. It's, you don't ever want it on like 90% of character sheets, and then the 5% that do want it for like 30 minutes, and then you're done with it forever. So like, I don't know.
I forgot what this does. What does this do again?
You make a weapon attack, and a little bit of fire bounces to a nearby person. And at level 1, it's a cantrip. So then at level 1, it does like a bonus 2 damage, a bonus 3 damage, plus your weapon attack.
Yeah.
And that's not a compelling spell to me, right? Like, oh joy, I've made my weapon attack, and now I have dealt a bonus charisma modifier damage to my person to my right. Yeah, no thanks. Like, I mean, if you're already making weapon attacks, like if you're an artificer or something, you take this and then switch it out at 5th level and you get extra attack, but like, it doesn't work with extra attack most of the time. But there are a couple of options, like Eldritch Knight that can get a bonus action cantrip or something like that. I think Bladesinger can do like a bonus action cantrip. Those kind of characters, that's like an extra attack. So it's pretty good on exactly those sheets. To me, that is a signifier of a B, right? Like, on the sheets that really want it, it'll be good. It's not going to be heinous whenever you use it in the early tiers, and it'll be like, you know, there are some builds that do actually want it.
Yeah, so for those, I guess B with an asterisk.
Yeah, I think like, it's hard, right? Because I do think like 90% of characters, this is a hot D, but for those characters that do really want it, sure, I guess. Here's what you really like.
Yes, Heat Metal.
I think I overrated this one in our video. I think this is just a casual C. I think it's niche enough that it's not going to make a difference in most encounters. I think disarming people with it isn't that great.
Well,
sorry.
I mean, the disarming is an option that it has, and that's fine. But yeah, if you're if you're opposing someone who's wearing metal armor, then you cook them, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, 2d8 damage at a time still isn't like a truckload. If you get 4 rounds out of it, you're probably really happy. 3 rounds, it's fine. 2 rounds, I'm like, I could have just cast Chromatic Orb. And 1 round is where it's bad.
Yeah, but yeah, I just like to think you're going to get multiple rounds in it. I'd cast this on somebody and then focus on attacking somebody else just so that they can keep cooking longer.
I know you love to torment people. I still think it's narrow enough that you probably don't want
to. I'm just trying to get the most out of my spell.
Sure. I think there'll be encounters where it does shine greatly. But I think there will be other encounters where it does so nothing. That's probably a fine C. Like, if you're a druid, why not prepared every once in a while? Maybe you get something out of it. Bards probably want nowhere near this. Artificers probably want nowhere near this. But on druids, yeah, sure, why not? It's fine. It's not great. Even in the best use cases, I don't think it's particularly powerful. Do you want to put it in B?
I do, but I'll defer to your wisdom. If you want to go C, I'll go C.
I think C's responsible.
All right. You're the responsible one.
Indeed.
Oh, here's one that I want to like, but yeah, you've talked me down on this one. Hellish Rebuke.
Yeah, if you're a Oath of something paladin, the Oathbreaker, I think, gets it. This is a great spell. If you're not that, this is an F. This is actually uncastable, and I don't think I'm going to rate this anything differently because a single paladin gets access to it. I think this is an F.
All right.
You're a warlock. You do not have room on your character sheet for this.
All right, fine.
It's just bad. Like,
yeah. No, you're right. You're right. My wanting to like this is purely because it looks cool. I like the image it provokes.
Yeah, but you're spending one of your 2 spell slots on 2d10 fire damage. Pass. Nope, that ain't it.
All right. Illusory Dragon.
I love this spell. This spell's sweet. I'm gonna give it an A. Cool. I think it's not like game warping, You make a big illusory dragon with an 8th level spell that repeatedly breath weapons things. Then things have to determine if they think it's real, and even if they determine that it's fake, they still take a bunch of damage from it. I like this thing a lot. This is like a big top end fantasy kind of illusion spell that I'm a huge fan of.
Yep, it is. Sounds good.
Just keep going over and over again. 76 damage. You need 2 rounds out of this thing for it to be a better fireball, and you get 3 rounds out of it, which you often can. Woohoo! You're cooking with gas.
All right. Or with illusory dragon.
Yeah, normally that.
All right. What about immolation?
This spell's bad, right? I think immolation
I don't remember.
is bad.
What does it do?
It lights something on fire for a 5th level spell. It does 76 fire damage on failed save on the initial cast, which is bad damage. However, for the duration, it takes 3d6 fire damage. At the end of each of its turns, it fails another save. So, like, if it ever passes a save, it ends. If you get 1 failed or 2 failed saves out of this, you get 76 on initial and then 3d6 extra, and then, or sorry, just 76 on initial. If you get 2 failed saves out of this, you do 10d6 damage. If you get 3 failed saves, it's 13d6 damage. And I think that's when you start to be happy with it. And I think asking something to fail 3 deck saves in a row is not realistic. So I think this probably is a D.
And this is single target, right?
Yeah, you pick a thing, you wreathe it in flames, it burns a lot. And by a lot, I mean a little bit.
So
or its cost.
Like compared to fireball damage, you're starting out lower and hoping to go higher, but still single target. Yeah, D sounds about right. I don't.
In 1 round, you are under fireball damage.
Yes.
In 2 rounds, you match, like 2 failed saves, you match the upcast fireball damage, and that hits an area.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right. Incendiary Cloud.
This is just a war crime, right?
They're all war crimes.
That's true. That is definitely true. I forgot an N.
I think heat metal is the real war crime.
That's also true. That's just torture and torment for no particularly good reason. I think that's an 8th level spell slot. And it's 10d8 fire damage in an area, but it persists. But like it moves away from you, so I think you get out of it pretty easily. And it's only 20-foot radius sphere, so it's like fireball sized. I think you're gonna really struggle to get multiple instances of damage out of this.
Yeah, you have to, I don't know, really move fast because it's moving away from you. So if you want to keep it on a target, then you gotta like circle all the way around it. Yeah, it's difficult to maneuver with.
I'm wondering why they didn't let you move it yourself, but given that you can't, I'm also gonna think this is a nice comfortable D. I think as far as 8th level spells go, like Illusory Dragon now exists, and that's 76 damage over and over again that you control where it is, on top of being a giant S dragon. This is 10d8 damage that you can't control, that's fireball size, that moves away from you, and it's really easy to get out of. I don't think you want this on your character sheet.
Sounds about right. Here's one of the investitures, Investiture of Flame.
I don't know if we should fail this or not. It's not good. It's a 6th level slot. You get you spend an action on it, and it does last 10 minutes, so you can kind of prep it easily before a fight. And then it gives you so where a 2nd level spell, Dragon's Breath, gives you the cones, 15-foot cone, 3d6 damage over and over again. This gives you an action for 48 lines. And that's 4 spell levels higher for a dice size up and 1 extra die. That does not seem particularly worth it to me.
No, I gotta wonder what they were thinking, because whoever made these was really excited about the investitures. They got 4 of them, and none of them seem particularly great.
Again, I think I'm gonna give it I think we should give it a D. I think we should give it a D because there will be some tables where you're playing a druid or sorcerer or a wizard or something, and you get to this stage of the game and you don't have you're not the most invested player in the world, and you put this on your sheet, and all of a sudden in combat you have oh, I can just do this every round. 48 I just said 48 damage. Oh, it just sank into my gut, my heart. Yeah, this gotta get an F. This is just bad.
F? Oh, yeah.
I think so. The damage is terrible. You're at 11th level? Yeah, I don't. I can't envision this being better than just taking cantrip actions, and that's not where you want a 6th level spell to be.
No, you want something. When you get 6th level spells, you want to be getting more powerful effects. All right, how about Melf's Minute Meteors?
I love this little thing.
Yeah,
3rd level spell. You get a bunch of little meteors that fly around and do a bunch of damage. This is honestly an A. If Fireball didn't exist, this would be the go-to 3rd level damage spell. I think this is a really excellent little effect. I would recommend playing with it over Fireball if you're sick and tired of Fireball, because you just I make a bunch of motes and I blow a couple of them up. That's very
How
fun.
long does it last?
Last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
The 6 tiny meteors you can fire off in groups. It's a sweet little effect. I like this thing a lot.
Yeah.
You normally are always going to just do like 3 rounds of it, 46, 46, 46.
Right.
And the concentration is going to hamper it on some builds, but I think most characters will have no problem putting it on the sheet and feeling like it's doing a lot of work.
All right. Meteor Swarm.
Right
The
back
big one.
to the top of the list. This is the highest damage spell in the game. This deserves an S. This thing is nasty. This thing levels armies. 40d6 damage. It does bludgeoning and fire in 3 gigantic areas. Yeah, this kills outright hordes and hordes of monsters. And even if it doesn't kill hordes and hordes of monsters, you're happy just like slamming these meteors into the big bad a couple of times. It's yucky good. This earns the title of 9th level spell for sure.
No argument here. This is top tier damage spell as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now the prismatics. We start with prismatic spray.
This is a 7th level spell that like it does a d6 randomly, so this doesn't always do fire damage for what it's worth.
Right.
It's in a cone, and then for each target you roll a d8 to see what happens, and just most of the time it's 10d6 damage, and that's just not worth a 7th level spell slot, right?
All right, what
10d6
about
damage is
for the fire effect?
The fire effect is it takes 70 or 10d6 fire damage. The
Yeah,
only two there's 3 non-damaging effects. Indigo, Violet, which are saves. I think one of them is petrified and one of them is blinded. And then the special is you roll twice, you're rolling 8s.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're gonna get 10d6 damage out of this, and that's just worse than a fireball upcast. And worse than fireball upcast is bad, right?
Yeah, and not to mention, like when I have these spells that have random effects, I want to feel like they're doing something random. Like you said, most of it is just a different type of damage, which is not different enough for me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
All right. So what do you think? D?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. The next prismatic, we have prismatic wall.
It's just like it's a wall of force because nothing's ever going through this, right?
Well, you can force things through it.
Yeah.
And, take a bunch of damage. I think it's ridiculous. All the text they gave to getting through each layer of the wall. Nobody's doing that.
No one is putting in the extra effort to chip through a prismatic wall ever. No player party going against a prismatic wall is figuring that out. Like, no one's gonna be like, oh, we first need 25 cold, then we need to use a strong wind, then we need 60 force damage, then we need pass the wall specifically. Like, never. That's never happening.
No, you just wait 10 minutes and it's over.
Or you just fly over it. It's still just a wall, right? It's 30 feet high. I get lower and lower on this every time I read it. I think you have to jump through so many hoops. This deserves an F. I think I'm casting a 9th level spell. I shouldn't have to jump through hoops to make it work. And you have to jump through hoops for this to do anything.
Well, I mean, like I said, for it to do damage, I mean, it is a wall of force.
Okay, Wall of Force is a 6th level spell.
Yeah, that's true. What is this?
A 9th level spell.
Oh God! All right. D it is.
D. I want this an F tier, Bob.
Oh, F.
Yeah.
All right.
I really think this is close to uncastable. I just don't think you're ever gonna get the desired outcome for it.
I don't even know what the desired outcome is.
Wall of Force is a 5th level spell. This is just going to be a wall that nothing goes through. And if you force something into it, you're going to be like, I should have just dealt damage without having to jump through all these hoops.
Yeah.
I don't want to put prismatic wall on my character sheet.
Okay. How about produce flame?
It's honestly about the same as Firebolt. It's a D8 and it gives you light. So if you wanted light and you are okay with the damage or range decrease, this is fine. The 30-foot range is substantially worse than the the 120-foot range, though.
Yes, that's very worse. But so what advantages does this have over Firebolt?
It's light.
Oh. Okay. That's not enough for me.
It's also this is a druid exclusive. And druids don't get Firebolt. They do get produce, or I do think they get can't create bonfire though. But then that takes your concentration. So I think maybe as like a druid exclusive, this is just like a fine damage spell that's still into the C tier. I really don't think it's that much worse than Firebolt. I do think it is worse than Firebolt, but I don't think it's that much worse that we can't put. I don't think we put it in C tier.
All right. Oh, we've just expanded C tier. All right. Next up is Scorching Ray.
What do you think?
I like this one.
2d6 3 times.
Yeah, and you can choose multiple targets or focus them all on the same target. I like that kind of versatility.
I think you get 46 damage, you're happy enough with it. It's not that much better than your Chromatic Orb at that point, but you have the upside of it being sometimes it's 3 times and it's a lot better. I really love that this has cute build implications. So like if you have builds that do bonus damage whenever you hit with attack rolls as a wizard, you can like do some cute things where they get bonus damage for the 3 instances here. Those are fringe though.
What about does this have any like meta magic benefits for sorcerers?
Probably. I imagine you
Yeah.
can like you can't twin it because it can hit more than one target.
Right.
But quickening it is kind of expensive, and you don't
Yeah.
really have anything else great to do with your action then. So like maybe you increase the range 240 feet, which doesn't seem like it's something you need to do. So the answer is no-ish. I don't know. I don't think it's good enough to get into B tier, so I think I'm happy to stink in this and see. This is a damage spell that you could take. That is fine.
All right. One of your favorites, Searing Smite.
Now we're getting into the real dregs. I was worried we weren't going to have that many in F tier. We were safe. Steering Smite right into F tier. This is awful. This is uncastable trash. Bonus action setup takes your concentration. If you don't hit that turn and it gets knocked off, you lost a spell slot for no reason. Nope, get it out of here. It's worse than Divine Smite. This is awful.
Okay, yeah, we know your feelings about the Smite spells.
I love that Summon Construct is on this list.
Yes. Summon Construct, why is it on this list?
Because one of the constructs does fire damage.
Oh, okay.
Summon spells are really good. This is one of the worst ones. It still probably deserves an A. Summon spells are really, really powerful, and this gets 2 attacks a turn. 2 attacks a turn with like the Heated Body doing a bonus 10 or D10 fire damage on hit, so you're like hitting for a D8 plus 4 plus 4 plus a D10 twice a round. That's a lot of damage for a 4th level spell, especially because it's stable with extra body.
Yeah. Yeah, it puts another target on the map too. We got 3 more summon spells.
Yeah, this one's better. This is an S tier.
Summon Draconic Spirit, yeah.
This thing is really good. Where like Summon Construct is kind of mopey. It doesn't have a lot of hit points. It doesn't have like the highest impact in the world. Draconic Spirit for one extra level gives you a flying dragon with a natural AC of 19, with a 60-foot fly speed, with breath weapons, with multi attacks. Like this thing hits like a bus. Yeah. It's real good.
What level is that?
5th level as opposed to 4th level.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you take this over Construct every single time. You can ride it because it's large.
Yeah.
That's super sweet.
All right, Summon Elemental.
I don't know if this is worse than Summon Construct. It's another 4th level spell. It really feels like this doesn't need to exist, given that like Conjure Elemental does functionally this, but better. It still probably deserves an A. It's still getting you an elemental buddy that's going to hit the crap out of things. They're immune to a billion conditions. That's neat. It's fine. Right. Summons are always good, right?
Yeah.
You really can't go wrong with any of those on your sheet.
One more. Summon Fiend. Anything special about this one?
It throws fireballs. It's also the highest level. This is a 6th level spell, so you cannot cast it at lower levels. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to write home about here otherwise. The Ugloths can like teleport as they hit things, which is kind of cute, but most of the time this is going to be one of the worst ones just because you can't have the flexibility of casting it using lower level slots. So I'd probably put this right up in A tier.
Still one of the worst, but still A tier. Still a summon spell.
I think it's probably better than Summon Construct and Elemental. Those are both not great. But like if we're comparing it to the 3rd level options, I think it's probably worse than them. And the Evenly Summon Beast is probably the best of the lot because it's 2nd level, but none of those do fire damage. This one can do fire damage. One of the devils that throws fireballs.
All right, the last spell on our list, Wall of Fire.
We talked about this relatively recently, and we're both disappointed. Where would you stick this, having had that conversation in the last couple months?
I don't know. It's like I still feel like there's uses for it, but the more we talked about it, the more those uses seem to get narrower and narrower. What is that? C, D?
I think D seems fair. I don't think most characters want this on their sheet. I think you have to work extra hard for it to do anything at all. And I don't want to have a spell that I have to work extra hard for to do anything at all.
Yeah.
Like 5d8 damage is an acceptable 5th level or 4th level spell, I don't think. And that's what you're going to get most of the time, I think, when you cast this. So, like, yeah, D tier seems fair to me. You can make it work, but you have to work extra hard for that to happen.
I mean, it doesn't have to do damage. If you just need a wall to dissuade people from coming at you, then that's something. But
if they're dissuaded by 5d8 fire damage, sure. At the same time, Wall of Force comes in next level, and Wall of Stone is in at this level. right?
And I do like me some Wall of Stone.
I know you do.
All right, D it is.
Oh, I lied. Wall of Stone's also next level, so this is slightly cheaper, but still, I think this deserves the D tier.
All right, well, that was it. You satisfied with this chart?
Yeah, I like our S
Looks
tier a
good.
lot. Every person can put all those on their character sheet, and they will always be powerful. Absorb elements, honestly, I think we probably should bump up to S tier. I do think it's that kind of effect. It's just
All right.
really, really powerful. Like,
No argument here.
beyond that, I don't know. Anything else stand out to you as like probably should be S tier, but isn't? The summons honestly all might deserve to be an S tier, but like I think Draconic Spirit is notably better than the rest of them. But the lower cost ones probably are S's, and these are probably just A's because you can get the effect in other places at a cheaper rate. I don't know. Any of these stand out to you as like this shouldn't be here, or any of them need to go down?
No, I'm looking through them. No,
Yes, we'll go
I
to
think
F
you always tend to err on the side of harshness, so I'm not sure I would put anything lower than what you've ranked it.
I really thought when we were going into this that there would be just a wall of D's and F's. I think there's a lot in C, and that's good to me. I think anything C plus you can put in your character sheet and you'll have a fine enough time. And in some niche instances, some D's will find a home somewhere. Don't ever put the F's. The F's are really, really bad.
Yeah.
That includes Flame Blade. Commenters, let me know if you are a Flame Blade defender. I don't think you should be. I think it's horrendous. But or if you know, where would you move things around? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yes, please do. All right, well, thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. That was all the fire damage spells ranked. Probably be doing more of these videos in the future.
They'll be shorter because this one is the most.
Yep. All right. Yeah, let us know if you like this. Yep. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.